Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Social Media Pro Tips with Salesforce. My name is Robin, and so I'm just going to start on time. If you missed this or if you missed the intro, then there'll be a recorded version available after. Great. So welcome, everyone. We're going to make this very fast and efficient. We'll do a very brief introduction for 5 minutes so that you understand who I am and what my company is about. Then we'll go into the pro tips, and we're actually running through 18 pro tips today, which I'm really excited about, all to do with how to get the most out of social using Salesforce. And then finally, we'll have some Q&A. So feel free at any time to drop a question into the webinar. There should be an available question box there. Also, do please help us out by answering the polls we'll be putting in there during the session. Great, so I guess just to introduce myself, I'm the co-founder and CEO of AF Digital. AF Digital is a marketing technology consulting and creative services company. We started in the Philippines. We've existed for 6 years now, and recently we've opened up offices in Singapore and Sydney. So my personal background, I was an ex-customer service agent working at Vodafone, telco business analyst, so a very deep experience in telco, and a lot of my experience was actually implementing CRM platforms. So I did a really large CRM implementation, which really forced me to work across marketing, sales, service, and BI and technology, which has kind of led me in this direction in my career, you know, naturally around social. It's quite an exciting space. So I was also an Agile PM, so Agile is very much in my DNA, and I'm passionately geeky about technology. So, you know, anything that comes out, I'm always ranting about how amazing it's gonna be. So we started AF Digital 2011, and we actually became a Radian 6 partner in 2012, which was a long time ago. So for the longest time, we have been evangelizing social listening and engagement at an enterprise level. And we've been working with some really amazing companies across Asia to achieve that. Great, so moving along. So I just want to run through a few bits of work that we've done recently, just to give you some more background about what we do. So HiPages, if you're not familiar with it, it's a very successful Australian startup. It's not really a startup anymore, it's a big company, and it's a marketplace for tradie skills or tradesman skills. It's very successful, and what we help them do is leveraging their existing Salesforce licenses, we integrated Social Studio with Service Cloud and Sales Cloud so they can manage social sales and social leads, which is really quite an obvious next step, but it's quite transformational as well. Stockland is an Australian real estate company. It's really the largest property development company in Australia. They have 40 malls and 40 residential developments across Australia. And what we help them do is implement Social Studio across all of their different brands across Australia. So there's 80 different brands, 80 different marketing teams, lots of agencies. So this was a very complex rollout of Social Studio, which it really forced us to understand the platform and the capabilities because we pushed it to the limit. So this is another client of ours, Qantas. So we help Qantas, we're like their marketing operations offshore team. So we provide creative services, we manage their Facebook content across Asian markets. We also manage their advertising spend across these Asian markets as well as email marketing. So this is very much us being their extra pair of hands to help focus on those Asian markets where we have very deep access to. And here's another airline example, Malaysia Airlines. So we helped them set up their social customer service, which was a very exciting project. You know, and they've really taken their level of service to the next level with social as a key customer touch point. So that was a really amazing, successful project. Great. So as I've mentioned, we've got offices in Philippines, Singapore, and Australia. Philippines is our global delivery center where we get a lot of the work done. And we've got offices with consultants in Australia and Singapore. And, we've worked with a lot of household brands. So, the level of consulting that we've done is, it has to be proficient. Great. Okay. I'm going to skip into the actual pro tips now. So let's just jump straight in. So before I start, if you haven't already seen a safe harbor from Salesforce, this is what it looks like. So this just means that if there are any future looking statements made or anything that's talked about in future releases, please don't make your buying decisions based on that statement. Great. Okay, so looking now at the Salesforce social ecosystem. So we can actually see there's a analyze, engage, publish. So this is really what has traditionally been in Social Studio. This is everything a marketing team needs to manage social networking. Command Center has also been added to that as well. So this allows you to visualize what's going on in social. And Command Center also has a lot of power to visualize other data sources now. So Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, Sales Cloud all have integrations into Command Center, making it a really extensive experience. There's an automation intelligence layer as well to Salesforce, which is Social Hub. And so I'm going to go through various aspects of this. If you're an existing customer and you've seen a lot of this, you'll probably relate to this. If you're new to Salesforce, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think the key is that really the ecosystem provides everything any size company needs to manage social effectively. Great, so let's just jump straight in. Okay, so this is one of the first pro tips, the most basic things that people always make mistakes with is Workspaces in Social Studio. So it's very easy to set up Workspaces, and for your users to set them up, it's very simple to do, but in truth, there's no need to. Most companies don't really need a lot of complexity with Workspaces. They just need one to manage their brand. The only time I'd have multiple Workspaces is if I had multiple brands with their own sets of social accounts. So if I had, say if I was an FMCG and I had a shampoo brand with a Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then I had a toothpaste brand with their own set of social accounts, I would split that as multiple Workspaces. But otherwise, you're just creating more work for yourself. Every workspace you create, there's an administration overhead to maintaining that. Great. Pro tip 2, squeeze your content. So this is a feature that is it's lesser known. The shared content library, not many people use it from what I've seen, but it's a really amazing feature where you can recycle your content. If we think about content as an asset, it requires an investment to create. Oftentimes we post it once, we may not even advertise it, and then it's gone forever. The value's stopped. So a content library is an essential tool that your team should be using to reuse the valuable content. And it's really simple. It's actually about creating a practice. So every month you should review the best performing content. That's a given. And then you add that content into the content library. And when the content team are ideating, they're starting to plan out their calendars, they should go back and see, okay, what haven't we used recently? What worked really well? Let's reuse some stuff. Great. Pro tip 3, throw out your content spreadsheets. So this is really a very common thing for most agencies to be doing, or social media teams using an Excel sheet to manage their social content calendar. Very common. Lots of people do it. Lots of people prefer it. Lots of people have tried using systems and it just doesn't work. Social Studio has actually created a really great collaboration system, and it's worth giving it a try with your teams. The key to using it is to not use the approvals until you're finally ready for the approvals. So I think the first instinct when you get into this is you see, okay, there is a content approval, I can set that up. In reality, when you start doing approvals and you have a lot of revisions, it kind of annoys the approvers, and then they stop relying on the tool. They get too many approvals that are meaningless. So the key is to use drafts and comments to collaborate on your calendar. So keep everything in draft, map it out, get it to a point where it's ready. And then at that point, you would email someone and say, hey, okay, content calendar is ready. Please go in and check. And the person can go in and check it. You know, so you've still just got to collaborate as normal. Once it's ready for final publishing, that's when you'd submit it for approval. And then it's like a final check rather than an early step in the approval. I think this is a common area people get stuck with the content workflow. Every post you can add comments to as well. So it's very easy to collaborate. Great, so pro tip 4, segment your content with publish labels. So this is all within Social Studio Publish. This is a bit of a hidden feature around being able to report on a certain theme of content. So for example, when I was promoting this webinar, I actually have a content label in there for webinar. So the posts that we're posting on our social pages, I'm tying it all to this webinar. And at the end of the webinar, I'm going to go back and run a report. So it's actually on the left side in performance under publish. And then you can select a date range and you can filter by the publish label. And that will give you the stats for that particular campaign. So the key, I think, is to set up a publish macro for the campaign so that your team will use it appropriately. You have to make sure they know to use it. And then you can use that publish macro to filter in your calendar. You can filter in your reports. You can also filter in shared content, and you can download that data as CSV. So publish labels are really important if you want to really focus on reporting on a specific topic that you're publishing about. Great. Okay, pro tip number 5, engagement, workflow, and reporting. So there's 2 sides to the engagement workflow and reporting process. And we're talking about Social Studio Engage. So the first step is really to just make sure that Engage template is set up correctly. And this often is the reason why your staff may not use it. So if you set up an Engage template, I've actually provided a recommended Engage template structure on here as well. So each of these items would be a different column. So Facebook wall, Facebook Messenger, Twitter listening, Twitter app mentions, etc. That's usually how I recommend to have it set up. And once you've got that, then it becomes a lot easier for the person doing engagement to really use it. The other thing I'd recommend doing is setting up Engage macros. And the Engage macros, they automate multiple actions and allow you to simplify your process a bit. So for example, if you've got a complaint, you can use the complaint macro. It will tag it as negative sentiment. It will assign it to your complaints team, and it will maybe add other tagging, like an author label to say the person's unhappy, and a post label to say complaint. So it's multiple tagging steps that you can do with one click. So that's really the key to getting your engagement reporting right, is to actually making the data go into it, making sure that's tagged correctly. And the only way to do that is driving good behavior from your engagement specialists. So, so once again, build the Engage templates, make it awesome. Set up the Engage macros, so it's really one click for the repetitive things. And then the third point, tag and close every post. And this is really key. If you don't add data, if you don't tag everything, you just have lots of gaps in your data once it comes through the reporting side. So if you accept that principle, tag and close every post. If you look now, you can see in this dashboard, it's actually a custom dashboard that's focusing on engagement metrics only. So this is really, this has only been available in the last couple of releases of of Social Studio. It's really exciting. So you can now look at the metadata that you've added in Engage, all of those tags that you've added, and you can start to analyze them. And you can build custom dashboards that really allow you to manage an engagement team just using Social Studio. So this is really what I'm excited about. And I think it's really about making sure that data is clean to start, and then afterwards it's reportable. And it's as simple as that. But there's no magic wand, and you can't get the data to be clean and your team to use the tool properly unless there's a very clear process for how they use it. Great. Okay, pro tip number 6. Okay, so the first 5 pro tips were very basic, right? Nothing super rocket science, but I think they do require business change and process for teams to adopt those features. So pro tip 6 and on, we're going to talk about some more tech and deeper stuff. Okay, so this one, I'm really excited, and this is only tip 6. So enabling social cases, leads, and journeys. If you have Social Studio and you have Social Hub and you have Service or Sales Cloud, you can integrate the 3 platforms together. So from Engage within Social Studio, I can be browsing through that stream of posts and decide, oh, here's a complaint, and I can, within one click, I can create a case, and that will go into Service Cloud, and a Service Cloud agent can then pick that up and handle that and be managed under the same SLAs that the contact center would have, for example. So it really allows your marketing team to remove themselves from the service issues that constantly bane them. So that's one scenario. We can create a social case from Social Studio with one click. We can also do the same with social leads. So if we've been chatting to somebody and they're really getting to the point where we think, oh, this person could do with a salesperson following up with them, we can actually trigger the creation of a social lead in Sales Cloud from Social Studio. So that's so amazing, because suddenly we unlock social customer service and we unlock social selling, and both of those things they're not easy to do. They're not easy to set up. There's not many platforms out there that do them well. Finally, with this, still the same tip, is triggering a social journey. So if you've also got Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and no doubt you're getting into Journey Builder and advertising audiences, and things are getting pretty exciting. With Social Studio now, we can now trigger the creation of a social persona in Sales Cloud, which can then be synced with Marketing Cloud, and then you can start to create advertising audiences using that, and then putting them into a journey. And suddenly it goes from, someone that maybe they're an advocate for you in social, and you say, okay, I'm going to put them into an advocate journey. And then they go through and they get offers and bonuses and refer a friend campaigns and, whatever it is you think. So pro tip 6, this is one I'm particularly excited about. Please note, though, that this isn't quite as easy as just turning it on. You do need some expert advice to really set these guys up. Okay, next one, pro tip 7, dashboards for days. Okay, so this is, I think people just don't realize, Salesforce have really built Social Studio so that it's easy to use. It's really made for marketers with the lowest possible expectations of their tech skills, right? So, back in the day, we used to have to ask a developer to build anything. Right now, Social Studio is set up so it's idiot-proof. Anyone can go in with half a brain, knowing what they want, and they can build out their own dashboard that is actually very useful to their day-to-day job. So as much as my business is all about helping you guys adopt it, the technology is really in a place where you guys can do a lot of this stuff yourself. So I'd actively encourage any single user from the C-level down to go into Social Studio and just have a play around. You'd be amazed at the insights you can find and how easy it is to use. Okay, great. So pro tip 8. So assuming that you have been doing some dashboarding and you have maybe played around with workbenches, one of the common questions that comes up is, what's the difference? Like, when would I use a workbench versus a dashboard? Why would I, And it's a very good question. So this is how I break it down. So on the left, dashboards. So I use dashboards to understand the what. So I want to time lock it in to say this is for the month of March, and I look at each of those numbers, and that's the result for March. So the dashboard is really what happened within a period, and I want to see bits and pieces. I can definitely drill down on that information and do investigative analysis, but it's really intended for that. So if you can see the screenshot, it's actually 3 of the same reports or dashboards. One's April, May, and June. So it's actually just the same report. You can copy or duplicate the dashboard, and then you can share it. And that just becomes the one master of truth for that month using whatever dashboard design you want. So that's how I use dashboards. With workbenches, it's really more for drilling down and understanding why. So say you've got something in the dashboard where, oh, okay, we've got a problem this month. We had 50% less positive mentions than last month. So that's when I go into workbenches and I would look at a bigger data set and say, okay, so we're down 50% this month, but what about the 6-month average? How, and then over that period, what have been the major spikes that have contributed to positive mentions? And you can start to just drill into that to get insights. Another way of doing it is campaigns and crises. So you have a crisis and you just want to track that crisis and really understand what's going on. Workbenches is the place to do that. Great. Okay, so I hope that answered a few questions for people that aren't sure about workbenches versus dashboards. So pro tip number 9. This is also super exciting and very few people know about this one. So Social Studio actually has an API, and there's the link to the documentation is down at the bottom of the slide. I'll make these slides available for download afterwards. So the Social Studio API is very flexible, it's very open, and you can pull in any of the data in Social Studio pretty much into whatever data source you want. So if you're currently running Tableau dashboards with your enterprise data, say you've got your finances, your sales numbers, etc., now you can integrate Social Studio with that Tableau dashboard. So you can start to see social media sentiment results over time versus your sales results over time, or social media mention volume increase per market versus sales increase per market. Is there a relationship? So the Social Studio API really allows us to go to the next level of social data, pull it out of the social tools and combine it with other data. Great. Pro tip number 10, automate your tagging with Social Hub. Okay, great. So this is if you've got Social Hub is an automated rules engine. So we can set up a set of rules based on keywords, based on conditions, and automate various actions. One of the really, it's kind of a forgotten feature almost, is to use it just to do simple tagging. So if we look on the left side of this slide, we set up an author tagging rule. In this case, we've set up a rule for recruitment. So I want to tag anyone that is talking about recruitment as a recruitment tag, and here are some of the keywords. So it's fairly simple to set up. You've just got to know what you're doing. Once you've set this up, this polls and it will auto tag every 1 minute. So on the right side of the screen, if we look at the engaged dashboard behind, those purple and blue labels, those are getting added intelligently. We don't have to physically add those. So it means the work required by a tagger, the accuracy and the extent of tagging is very full. And it means that we get really good results in these dashboards because we can also report on those tags in the dashboards. So as you can see, it's this tagging, it really makes our reports so much more powerful. And again, those tags are also available through the API as well. So this beautiful data that you're creating is really going to enrich your business if you take value from it. Great. Okay, pro tip number 11, crisis notifications. So this is another great feature recently added to Social Hub in the last release. So this is very easy to set up email threshold alert. And you can set up rules like if it's greater than 300% of the 7-day average of mentions, then send an email to this set of people with these things. So that's a really cool feature. Okay, pro tip number 12, Salesforce Live Message. Okay, so if you haven't heard about Salesforce Live Message, it really streamlines your Facebook message and your SMS chats with customers. So users are using Service Cloud just for their normal engagement. They've got Facebook Live Message or Salesforce Live Message set up, and it's just acting like a live chat with Facebook Messenger. This is really next level. They're opening up more chat platforms like Line and various others. I won't name them. But this is really going to become integral in terms of how we communicate with customers. This works in parallel with social customer service. So we would still use Social Hub and Social Studio to manage all the comments, replies, posts, etc. But specifically for these DM type chats, they go through Live Message. So there is an additional license for this, but I'd recommend talk to your account executive. Okay, pro tip number 13, Lightning Service Console. So I'm not sure if you guys have looked at the latest release, but they've redesigned the Service Console with Lightning. Lightning is like the new look and feel of Salesforce. It's really sexy in my opinion. If you have a look here, this is a brand new, I mean, this only went in a few days ago. This is a new setup area where you can actually set up Facebook email channels through Service Cloud yourself if you have a professional edition license of Salesforce. So it's really new. There's a wizard here. You know, this is groundbreaking stuff. Salesforce are really making it easy for people to adopt social. So I think that the tip here is to get into Lightning Service Console as quickly as possible. Many companies are constrained. Everyone's trying to shift over to Lightning at the moment. And Salesforce is making it very easy to do that. There's Lightning readiness checks and all sorts of stuff that you can do to make that shift. Great. Pro tip number 14, social sidebar add-on. So this is something that no one knows about. Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I'm really excited about this. Salesforce have developed this plugin to make it easier to understand the context of your social interactions in Service Cloud. So this just gives you more understanding. It was one of the major pain points, especially when you first start social customer service without any data in Service Cloud. You don't really know what's gone on with a customer. It's very hard to start that conversation. So this solves that problem, and it just gives the social agent a very quick snapshot in terms of the relationship you've had with that social persona. There's a link actually in the slides on how to install that. No configuration, super easy. You just need to install it and make it available. Great. Okay, we're actually almost there. Pro tip number 15, milestones to track KPIs. So this is just something we've learned over the last few years. Is there are some social integration with Service Cloud. It didn't used to work very well in terms of KPI tracking, like first response time, average handling time. Those metrics are actually a little bit more complicated. So we used to do all sorts of little hack things to make it work. Salesforce have milestones, which are a really effective way of tracking service, SLAs, and KPIs across all of your service channels. So this is something that we highly recommend that clients do, is explore implementing milestones into all of your channels and using the same for social. So that's really it. But you've kind of got to look at how you execute it across all channels. Pro tip number 16, command center. Okay, so what we're looking at here actually in the slide is on the right side is actually our command center in Manila. And it looks pretty cool there. You know, people are interacting with it, engaging with it. I think one of the most common conversations I have with clients around command center is, what is the ROI of it? Or, oh, it seems a little bit unnecessary. And they're not really wrong. It's a valid piece of feedback, because what is the ROI of having some monitors up on the board? They're not a magic key to anything. They won't create a process in your company to handle social service, sales, you know, those things. All of that requires business process, business transformation. It requires resource, technology. The command center really just visualizes new stuff that we can visualize. So 10 years ago, we didn't have access to these things. We didn't have this technology, this amazing marketing technology. So there's not really much to visualize, but we definitely did visualize our call center stats, because we thought that it was important to visualize that information that we could get, that we could track our success by and share with everyone. So it's the same principle. It's just command center is just the new version of those old tickers that we used to have in the call center. So that's my pro tip for command center, is just don't overthink it. It's just a visualization of this awesome technology that you've bought. It seems silly to hide it away when you've got it available. And at the end of the day, it gets people involved. It makes them adopt the technology. It shows them that the email blast they worked really hard on last week, it actually went out and had a result. Or there's been a social media crisis and you can visualize it and you know it's happening on the screen. So I really recommend command center, even though it seems like it's a little bit you know, over the top. It's really core in terms of running this operation. Okay, pro tip number 17. So CRM targeted social ads. This is probably one of my favorite things to talk about at the moment. So this is very much social, even though it's advertising oriented. I've limited my advertising tips to 2, but there's a huge number of things you can do with social advertising. So pro tip number 17, CRM targeted social ads. So before I start, I just want to show everyone what a Facebook lead ad is, just in case you haven't seen it. So if you look at, oh, I've just lost my screen. Excuse me, sorry. Technical difficulty. Okay, great. Hopefully you can see that now. Okay, we're back on. So pro tip number 17, CRM targeted social ads. So this is what a Facebook lead ad looks like. It's different to other Facebook ads in that once you click subscribe, it keeps you within Facebook. It's got a little landing page pop up. It auto populates information for you. And then you just have to click submit. And then and that's it. And that generates a lead which goes into your CRM. So this is a really amazing development that Facebook have just released maybe a year ago, but it rocks my world. So if I can demonstrate it with this webinar, so we actually picked out about 100 CRM contacts in our Sales Cloud instance. So we use Marketing Cloud. So we've got our Marketing Cloud integrated, and we're able to create a custom audience for this social webinar. So I'm not sure if anyone that's attending today actually saw this ad in Facebook. I hope so, but you are very, very, very specifically targeted. So it really only works if you used your email address or your phone number that we have in our CRM for your Facebook. So maybe out of the 100, maybe 50 people did, you know. But what I've also done is created a lookalike campaign based on this list. So I've got an audience here, and I've created a lookalike, and that now gives me maybe 500 people that are similar to you. So this also kind of introduces a new lead acquisition thing, and we're using it in parallel with these Facebook lead ads, which is a really powerful way to drive leads. So that's pro tip 17, CRM Targeted Social Ads. This is just one very simple use case, but in reality, you can do anything. So you could say, okay, if I have someone in Service Cloud that is upset with me, they gave me a 1 net promoter score, I am not going to put them into my Facebook advertising audience. So you can exclude people that you know are probably not going to want to hear from you in this way. You can do all sorts of things depending on where the customer is in their journey and depending on the data available in your CRM. You can do some amazing targeting. So that's pro tip 17. Pro tip 18, which is very tied, is social advertising lookalike loop. So this is the holy grail of CRM targeted advertising. So I'll just walk through this very quickly. So we already understand the Facebook lead ad. We already understand how we've got an existing customer lookalike, or we can create lookalike audiences. So if we look at the 3 systems together, so we've got Facebook lead ad. So we'd set a campaign 1, which would be an existing customer lookalike audience. So I would say, I want to look in Sales Cloud at all of my existing customers that buy from me and create a lookalike audience for them, run a Facebook lead ad. All these new leads come back into Sales Cloud. So all of the lookalike leads that converted, they go back into Sales Cloud. They refresh this campaign 2. So this is new leads lookalike. So we've suddenly got these new leads that come in. We've got an audience for them, and we've got a lookalike audience for them. So it really means that we're taking people through this beautiful loop, and it always grows. So you've always got a growing new lead list, and your lookalike refreshes every day. So it's always getting more targeted, but bigger and wider. So, and it really works like this. You've got your existing customer, you know who they are. You've got your new people that sign up, and you know who they are, and you can just continually grow your acquisition. So this is a lookalike loop. It's really simple to set up, to be honest, and it almost feels criminal because it's so easy. One thing that's really important to note is that if you don't have a system that integrates with Facebook lead ads, or the Facebook advertising ecosystem, this is really hard to do manually. You would have to download, upload from Sales Cloud a list of your email addresses, and then upload them into Facebook lead ads every day to refresh your audience. So you'd have to manually do that. The reason why you need a technology in the middle is because you don't want your staff to download your customer data. That's crazy risky. So that's really the key thing here. So this is an amazing solution, but you've really got to get the technology that makes this legal and safe. Great. Okay, so that's 18 pro tips. So I'm going to make this available. I'll just go through a couple more things that I'm excited about. So summer 17, social release features. So if we look on the left, there's heaps of stuff that's been released. It's really exciting. Salesforce is killing it at the moment. What I really am excited about is the ones that I've indicated in red. So Social Studio Einstein Vision, where we can start to pick up brands and understand metadata from an image. This is going to be huge. A lot of brands are struggling to listen when it's on, say, Instagram, and they really need to know those posts, but they can't get that necessarily out of the data. Social Studio Command Center sales leaderboards. So this is yet another integration of CRM with Command Center to make Command Center not just a social command center, it's really a command center for your entire organization. And then Service Cloud has some really awesome Lightning Service Console features. If you get a chance, play in there. It's really sexy. It makes me want to work in a call center, to be honest. Social call center. So my highlights from this release. So we're seeing AI for everyone. And I'm just so excited about AI. Salesforce are really integrating it across all of the different clouds. Lightning Console is awesome. Lightning Service Setup Wizard is amazing. I'm really excited to spend more time playing with that. And there's clearly just a deeper integration across everything. This is what I'm seeing. It's getting really cool. Down the bottom, there is a trail from Trailhead. If you haven't gone to Trailhead, that's also amazing. The trail goes through the release. So this is just a bit of a plug. We actually have packages available to help you guys get up and running quickly with Social Studio, or connect your Social Studio with your CRM. So the Social Power On package, 5K, and it really just gets you up and running on Social Studio quickly. The Social Connect, $15,000, that is really just to connect your Service Cloud with Social Studio using Social Hub and automate that social sales and social customer service process. And if anyone signs up before the end of June, we're offering a 15% discount. We've got a bunch of other packages. As I said, we're really a digital agency, but we're a marketing tech consulting company as well. So we've got all of these packages available to help you implement the software, but we can also help you run it and operate it from a digital perspective using our delivery center in the Philippines. Great. Okay, so I apologize for the short technical difficulty. We're going into Q&A now if anyone would like to ask a question. Anyone has a question, feel free to ask in the Q&A section or on the chat. Cool. Okay, so I think we've got no questions. So we'll wrap this up. We're a little bit early, but I'll make the slides available within this webinar. I will also send another blast out with the link to the slides for you guys. We'll take them away. I hope it's been useful to everyone. It's maybe a little bit geeky, but certainly for people that have been using social within Salesforce, hopefully this has unlocked a few mysteries or things you can try out. Great. Thanks, everyone.